this new alliance. Tell me all about it. Why was it necessary?
Well, we got sick of being called by the government last, quite frankly. As in the previous parliament, after the Palmer United Party broke up, we were all a group of individuals, and Bob Day and I worked together very closely. We got on very well. And so the government used to quite often come to us first because we were the only grouping there. Things changed after the last election because the Nick Xenophon team had 3, Pauline Hanson had 3 or 4, and so those of us who were individual senators, we only found out about stuff after the government had talked to those 2 groups. I've been quite keen to form a group, or form a bit of an alliance with Corey for a fair while, but it's taken him a while to get used to the idea. But anyway, yesterday we decided that we would proceed, and we brought Fraser in. So Fraser's obviously been looking for some friends. We've decided we will work together, vote together when we can agree, negotiate together when we can, when the government needs our vote, and of course, hopefully, if it works as intended, the government will talk to us, Xenophon and the Hanson people, more or less on equal terms.
Now, you say, Corey, it took a while to warm to the idea. What were his reservations?
I don't know. I think he was just getting used to the idea of not being in the Liberal Party anymore, and you know, doing his thing as a Lone Ranger. I think he quite enjoys it, but you know, it's obvious to anybody that achieving things in the Senate as a single senator without friends is a lot harder, and I think he has recognised that now.
But, Senator, there will be some things that you will fundamentally disagree with Cory Bernardi and Fraser Anning, I would imagine. Your whole philosophy is to, you know, the government should essentially get out of people's lives. This goes to one of the things that Cory Bernardi and the Australian Conservatives have been campaigning on and continue to campaign on, according to Lyle Shelton yesterday, and that is same-sex marriage. So have you, you know, had a bit of a yarn to him behind the scenes and told him that perhaps he should drop that?
No. We acknowledge that we see the world differently. Fraser is, even, if anything, even more conservative than Corey, and on social issues and economic issues, whereas Corey is not that far from my position on economic things, but obviously socially conservative. I'm not conservative on either social or economic things. So there will be areas where we just agree to disagree, and we'll do our own thing.
Okay, so this is probably similar to the alliance you had with Bob Day back in the day when you fundamentally disagreed on social issues. This will just be much of the same.
Yes, it is. That's right. But you know, we think that we will be able to improve our negotiating position with the government and hear about things sooner, and you know, get a chance to influence things if you hear about them. If you don't hear about them, you can't even offer an opinion. And at times there will be bills where we can agree. The government needs our vote, and our leverage will be greater as a result.
I thought you had one piece of legislation that's on the front page of the Daily Telegraph today, and this is the proposed legislation that might see journalists jailed in certain circumstances, like if they were to come across a cabinet full of cabinet papers that was accidentally thrown out and, you know, sold in a government auction. Have you looked at this piece of legislation? Bill Shorten has just told Fairfax that he and the Labor Party is not going to support this bill as it currently stands. Have you had any talks with the government about this? Have you been given any reassurances? What is your now group of 3 likely to do with this legislation? Vote for or against it?
Okay. This is following a similar pattern to previous national security legislation that it goes too far, it's overreach. I think there's been plenty of precedents for this. The bill is not yet even in the House. It's just, well, it's been introduced, but it hasn't been debated or considered. It's gone to the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence and Security. So it's likely to emerge from there, either changed or with substantial amendments in any case. Although usually what happens is the Labor Party does a deal with the government in the joint committee, and it emerges, they both agree, and then nobody else gets a look in. That's been quite a problem. This is maybe going to be an exception to that. I have fought long and hard on the national security legislation for the protection of basic rights, including press rights. I really fought hard for so journalists wouldn't be exposed to 10 years jail for reporting on controlled operations, for example. And you know, that nothing like that has changed. I'd be very surprised if Corey was any different from me on that issue. But in fairness, I haven't talked to Corey about it, and Fraser is a little too new for me to speculate. But I would imagine he'd be very interested in my point of view. But in fairness, you know, our little alliance is too new and too novel. We haven't considered something. It won't be in the Senate for months yet, that bill.
Okay, Senator Leyonhjelm, thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure, thank you.
Police have arrested 6